Oddworld Abe's Odyssey is an interactive two-dimensional platformer that requires you to interact with the people and the environment in order to solve interactive puzzles that utilize its environment, places, hazards, and people. You must communicate. You must solve complex mind puzzles, and they aren't just puzzles. You're interacting with other people.
Hello.
Or Madakans. Hazards and places, they all move. They are like a Ruby Goldberg machine, and it's all connected and it's all interactable. This philosophy is taken to its absolute pinnacle and extreme. This game takes it to a whole new level and takes it quite far. Abe's Odyssey is an interactive game, full to the brim of atmosphere and tone. It is all interactable too. As the more you interact with the environment, the more you realize it's all one big puzzle, and you have to solve it. And it's so much more. The game has a hidden karma mechanic, meaning everything you do has a cause and effect for the environment and the Madakans. The game does not tell you this. It's a natural part of the game's atmosphere and gameplay. How phenomenal. When Oddworld first dropped to the scene, games were nothing like this. These incredible animation and mechanics. The animations and sprites are some of the most handcrafted and well-made sprites ever put to the gaming industry. They took it to a whole new level beyond what most games have ever accomplished. This game is more than a game. It's a real alien, grounded, symbolic, and powerful experience. The meaning behind it is also quite apparent and even subtle. You see, Oddworld tackles themes of authoritarianism and nature versus man, and does this in a powerful, subtle, and brilliant way. This entire game's flow and frequency is like a groove. It's all tied together. The sounds, the frequencies, the effects are all connected into one sound. They all flow together, including its soundtrack. The sound effects are like music. They flow with the sound. This game is beyond ambitious. It is beyond ahead of its time. It is the standard of what every game should strive to be. These animations are absolutely outstanding. You'll be watching these Ruby Goldberg-like puzzles because it gets complex. There'll be Madakans everywhere, traps, hazards, and all of it will flow like water. It all works extraordinarily well, and it's unlike any game ever made. Unlike other two-dimensional platformers, this is the single greatest one. It allows you to do things with its environment and people you could never do elsewhere. Possessions, game speak, and interactive two-dimensional puzzles. You can possess enemies and people in the game and control what they do, thus controlling the entire outcome of the area. You can speak to Madakans and move them into different areas to save them from slavery. You can interact with large and vast environments, go on an interconnected adventure, as each area you visit is all explorable, and there's so much to find and discover. So much can kill and obliterate you. You have to be careful. This is one of the most haunting video games of all time, as the atmosphere, music, sound, and frequencies become more intense as you traverse the environment it has to offer. Every area is crafted with art, care, attention to detail, deep, alien, grounded, realistic, artistic direction with sharp edges and realistic look behind its atmospheric environment. It's so immersive, it looks dead-ass real. And its entire environment is just so real and it feels alive, and it just is. Those backgrounds have so much care and detail put into it that it's just alive. Here goes the commandments of Oddworld from one of the developers from what I remember. All images must be realistic. All images must have solidity. All images must be original. All images must be cool. All images must evoke emotion. All images must look alive. They laid this down. Guys, this is some of the most realistic backgrounds I've ever seen. This is CGI and sprite animations ahead to like 30, maybe even 40 years ahead of our time. There are games right now with animations that don't even compare, and that is a fact. Why is it that there are modern games that don't have this level of complexity, this level of detail, this level of animation? You see, Oddworld is creative, supernatural, bizarre, atmospheric. The two-dimensional interactivity is mind-blowing in this game. You indirectly cause so much of an impact that you're more than just a soldier with a gun or a guy with a sword and weapon. You are beyond all of those things. You make things happen yourself with your choices and manipulation of the environment. Everything is indirect, even the violence, even the survival. It's amazing. They took into account so much. The portals that are utilized to save Madakans, those are actually birds. What kind of brilliant connectivity is going on here? You see, it's that connected, it's that in sync with life. Wow, a game like this to even exist in our time, you gotta be grateful. You see, it's taking themes of man versus nature and technology versus nature and society and modern day slavery. It's taking some profound themes, and it does this so well with so much care and so much subtlety and thought put into it. I beat this game for the first time years ago. I was 8 years old, replaying it over and over on a PS1 because my dad didn't have a memory card for his PS1. So I had to restart the game every time I wanted to play it. I had to beat the whole thing in one go. So that's what I did, replaying it for months, almost a whole year, until one day in Briar Lake Village, I beat it as an 8-year-old kid with no memory card. So yeah, this game is really something, especially if that much devotion went into it. The sound effects, the atmosphere and tone, the frequency, the music, these things are all in sync, and they all sound so incredible. The sound design is so impeccable. The atmosphere is so hauntingly gorgeous, scary, profound, and intellectually stimulating. This game is just wow, bro. The puzzles, dude, at first glance, because the entire game is interactable. You can interact with the stuff, people, places, areas that you would never think it is a puzzle is hidden quite well. Yet the more you interact with it, the more it reveals itself to being a complex two-dimensional puzzle. This is a complex two-dimensional side-scrolling puzzle game. Elaborate yet hard, but fair. Design puzzles created to test the very limits of your mind. It's like going into the depths of the mind as you traverse through the areas and places. It's just profound. This is one of the defining standards of video games in general. The possessions can set in motion Ruby Goldberg levels of complexity behind the puzzles, and you can set in motion so much elaborate Ruby Goldberg-like puzzles. One thing leads to another thing, and another thing, and another thing. Next thing you know, it's just so complex. You just did multiple things at once. It all led to the puzzle's conclusion. Genius. And Abe is an iconic character, as he is the symbolic representation of the individual savior, saving oneself and saving others as well in the modern-day slavery landscape. He himself takes the theme of the underdog, the one you would never think could make it, yet he does, with subtlety, atmosphere, and even a hint of humor. Oddworld balances its humor and dark elements to near perfection, with an excellent balance of tone and mood, with an amazing sense of humor and self-awareness. See, games like this come once every 20 years. You see the level of detail put into the animations and sound design. You see how effective and persistent the precision and depth of the sound design and animations are. Whoa, this is sharp, confident, full of weight and movement, and it's wow. Oddworld is so creative and dark and humorous and just so intelligent and brilliant. It doesn't even flaunt its own intelligence. It's just that smart. Oddworld, smart, intelligent, stimulating, and daring. This game is just something else. The amount of passion and effort put into the gameplay, the level design, the artistic direction is unparalleled. The game requires a lot of thought to play. You see, you have access to something called GameSpeak. GameSpeak allows you to communicate with other Madokans to save them from this institutionalized, controlling, dangerous life. You as Abe are saving Madokans from this situation. GameSpeak is so innovative. No game in general does this, allowing communication for elaborate Ruby Goldberg-like two-dimensional mind puzzles. Depending on how you communicate determines whether you will live or die. Then you have possession. You can control the mind of the enemy and have them do whatever you want them to do. This allows you to solve some of the most complex two-dimensional environments and interactions because it's not just a puzzle, it's an environment that you can interact with. You go on adventures in this game and travel the entire level as if you're traveling. Controlling enemies is a big thing. The game changes its entire functions when you do this. Even the music changes. That signifies that the game has changed. Things are not the same when you possess enemies, like Slicks. Possession is taken to such extremes with its interactivity that it creates some of the most innovative gameplay ever put to a video game. Then you have the levels. Holy fucking shit, these levels are so expansive and large and beautiful and haunting. They have so many different areas, places with so much rich history and artistic direction. You have the scrabs, which are vicious, dangerous, but kind of admiring. They are very incredible and look so cool. They look so badass, and their design is just incredible. Then you have my favorite, Paramites. I love these things. They are weird, creepy, but creative and brilliant. They are such a staple of this world, and seeing them is incredible. They all have their own unique mannerisms and movements. The animations that went into them is insane. It looks like handcrafted movements to the likes in which I've never seen. It took years to even hold a candle to these effects. Years, people. Years. It took years just for games to come close to what this single game accomplished. Then you have slogs. These vicious, crazy, brutal little things. My goodness, they are so vicious and hungry and ready to trample you at all times. Such incredible animations and sound design behind these odd creatures. They look so haunting and creepy and bizarre and creative, and man, this is just so cool. Every waking moment is full of tension and weight. How will you solve this situation? How will you interact with the environment? Will you possess? Will you use game speak? Will you lead a Slig to his death? Will you possess and control what the Slig does? Will you pull a lever and cause chaos and save Madakans and cause them to go home to where you all belong? Every second is full of so much tension. This game is hard, really hard. This game is so hardcore, I've beaten it around 100 times and saved around 70 Madakans. There's many hidden areas too that take and require thought and careful attention to detail to find, which rewards you for not only exploration, but for paying attention. There's so many different hazards that feel so immersive and atmospheric. First are the chant suppressors. Chant suppressors stop you from using possession, from chanting, so you can't possess around them. So you have to use your brain and find another way to save the Madakans. They are brutal, constantly electrocuting you for even making the attempt, constantly in the way right when you thought you found a way to get around these Sligs, or to save the Madakans, or to pull a lever. There's so many hazards in this game that are designed with unbelievable creativity, and it's hard. You gotta really think, because you're probably going to die quite often, and when you do, there is a sense of continuity to death. Yes, this game took it that far. When you die, you become birds, and you come back as birds and morph into Abe. Yes, you are that connected as Abe. Holy cow, that is so brilliant. That's creative in general, let alone for a video game. That's something you'd see in a movie or a high-budget Hollywood blockbuster, not a video game from the 90s. Wow. Lorne Lanning, much respect, and I respect all of your work, Lorne Lanning. Wow. Your team, wow. The people who designed this game must earn awards and acclaim for this level of detail and precision. The composers, wow. This is some of the most haunting yet hypnotically brilliant music of psychological turmoil I've ever heard. It's very psychological. The soundtrack is so profound, and it matches the atmosphere and tone of Oddworld. When it comes to game speak, you don't just communicate, you also whistle. You see, when you traverse through this game, there are times when you'll meet other Madakans who are not ordinary. They hold the key, and the key is the power. The power to save your friends, save the Madakans, and even yourself. This power is only unlocked when you know the right password, and you have to actually move around and memorize it on your own, which is so amazing. The game actually expects you to realize this on your own. It does show you by having them play the actual password, which is GameSpeak, but you have to memorize what they showed you on your own. This level of immersive, brilliant game design is brought to you by some of the greatest minds in video game history. And this is Oddworld. Thank you if you made it this far. Thank you.